the Liberals are running an anti-Semitic candidate in Montreal, Zuberi. Do you have any thoughts on that matter?
No, and I don't believe we are running an anti-Semitic candidate in Montreal.
Oh, Bnai Brith has condemned them as being anti-Semitic. David Menzies for the Rebel News here at the Beth David Synagogue in Toronto. Now, in just a few moments, this will be the venue for an all-candidates debate for those candidates in York Centre. Now, if York Centre rings a bell, maybe that's because the incumbent candidate here is Liberal MP Michael Levitt, and I bumped into Michael Levitt at the Walk with Israel event not too far away from here back in May. I asked him a couple of questions. For some reason, he got tongue-tied. Here's a refresher in case you've forgotten. How do you feel about the fact that Justin Trudeau made 2 commemorations about the Holocaust and never mentioned the Jewish victims of it? Do you stand by your Prime Minister?
We're here today celebrating the Canada-Israel relationship, and that's what we're going to do, proudly and strongly.
Would your party support moving the embassy to Jerusalem?
We're here to support the Canada-Israel relationship, and that's exactly what we're here to do.
And would that include moving the embassy?
It includes being here and supporting the Canada-Israel relationship, like I continue to do, like we've done for the last 4 years.
Sir, with all due respect, that you're avoiding the question.
No more questions. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Michael Levitt, cat gets his tongue when it comes to issues that pertain to the Jewish community and Israel. I don't know why that is. This is a riding that has a big Jewish population, and of course the debate here is being held in a synagogue. In any event, I'm going to try to see if I can talk to Michael Levitt again, ask him the same sort of questions, also ask him why the Liberal Party of late seems to be a home for those candidates who espouse anti-Semitic and anti-Israel viewpoints. It'd be nice to know too why the Liberal Party committed $110 million to the UN agency UNRWA, which if you look at the consensus has been a disaster. And it might be nice also to find out why the Liberals a couple of years ago penned a check to the Islamist terrorist Omar Khadr for the sum of $10.5 million. In any event, I think I see Mr. Levitt arriving. I'm going to rush over to the parking lot and try to ask him some of these questions. Oh, Mr. Levitt, how you doing?
Good evening.
Dave Menzies with Rebel News.
Hi.
Just hoping to get in touch with you about the fact that the Liberals are running an anti-Semitic candidate in Montreal, Zuberi. Do you have any thoughts on that matter?
No, and I don't believe we are running an anti-Semitic candidate in Montreal.
Oh, Bnai Brith has condemned them as being anti-Semitic. You... Mr. Levitt, what about moving the Canadian embassy in Israel to Jerusalem?
Can you stop for you?
Oh, not allowed.
Just stop for you.
And that is even if it's discriminating against LGBTQ kids, even if, so you've got the right way.
Let me respond. The right way to raise my children is the way that I choose to raise my children.
Well, Mr. Levitt, just curious, can you, Mr. Levitt, can you tell me why the Liberal Party is such a home for candidates who are anti-Semites and anti-Israel? Mr. Levitt? Can you answer that question? Oops, excuse me. Mr. Levitt? Can you please tell me why your party supports somebody like Zuberi?
I don't buy the premise of your question, so thank you. I don't believe we are a party that's anti-Semitic, but thank you for...
what about Masjid Johari, who tweets his support to the mullahs in Iran? What about moving the embassy to Jerusalem? Any words on that? So you can't even answer that question, Mr. Levitt? Well, there you go, folks. Either before or after the debate, Michael Levitt is clearly not interested in being transparent and honest when it comes to answering the tough questions about anti-Semitism and Israel. And again, funny that here we're in the heart of the Jewish community, and Michael Levitt himself is, of course, Jewish. I have to say, judging by the applausometer, I would reckon that Rachel Wilson, even though she's not Jewish, won this debate given the number of ovations and cheers that she received for, well, speaking honestly. As for the NDP candidate, well, she sat this one out. Just hours before the debate, she canceled. One last sidebar note. You probably saw Mr. Levitt run into his imported SUV, an Audi A5, I believe. It's kind of funny because when the debate focused on climate change, he talked about how he marched in the climate march in Montreal last month and how the kids really get it and how a carbon tax is needed. And yet here he is in that big Audi SUV with probably about 400 horses under the hood. Yeah, like a lot of other liberals, Michael Levitt, he sure talks a mean game, doesn't he? For the Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, if you like that report and you support what we're doing here at Rebel News, please go to campaign2019.com, campaign2019.com. And I know it's been a rough 4 years. Absolutely no one I've spoken to during this campaign has said they are better off in 2019 than they were in 2015. But if you can, please contribute $1 or $2 so we can continue to bring you the kind of journalism that tells the other side of the story.